What you are listening to now is the Central Indiana Sports Report podcast number 316.1. Our preview of the IndyCar race at Mid-Ohio with Elijah Poe with a recap of Saturday's qualifying.
You're listening to the Central Indiana Sports Report with your host, Greg Mengelt.
Welcome, IndyCar fans, to the Central Indiana Sports Report and our Mid-Ohio preview and qualifying recap with Elijah Poe. Welcome, Elijah.
Yeah, thanks for having me once again. It's good to see the IndyCar Series racing at Mid-Ohio and Mr. Inevitable himself. I've said it many times this year, Alex Palou taking pole position.
That's right. And but other than Palou, pretty wild day. Let me go through the starting grid for Sunday's 1 o'clock race at Mid-Ohio. The race can be seen on Fox Television. And as Elijah mentioned, Alex Palou starting on pole next to Christian Lundgaard on the outside of row 1. Row 2, we'll need to talk about in depth, Elijah, is Kiffin Simpson and Nolan Siegel. Row 3, Colton Herta and Louis Foster. Again, another one we'll need to go into depth with Louis Foster suddenly becoming a qualifying master, I guess. Just missing the Fast Six was Kyle Kirkwood. He'll start from row 4. That'll be interesting to watch. Next to Marcus Armstrong. Row 5 is Scott Dixon and Christian Rasmussen, who had to be moved back after qualifying for failing inspection. Row 6 is Marcus Ericsson and Alexander Rossi. Row 7, Connor Daly and David Malukas. Row 8, Pato O'Ward and Felix Rosenqvist, third and fourth in the IndyCar standings. Row 9, and here we go. Going to be the number one topic of this one, Elijah. 17th is Santino Ferrucci. 18th and the fastest Penske, Joseph Newgarden. Whew. Row 10, Stingray Robb and Graham Rahal. Row 11, Scott McLaughlin and Will Power. Ooh. Row 12, Devlin DeFrancesco and Callum Ilott. Row 13, Jacob Abel and Rinus VeeKay. And starting last, even though he looked really fast yesterday, is Robert Schwartzman. We got to start, Elijah, with Alex Palou's 9th career pole. Hard to believe it's only been 9 since he has 17 career wins and 6 this year already. We got to start there, and it was pretty dominant. No one even was close.
Yeah, almost 2/10 on Christian Lundgaard. And that was after his first flying lap. He went around for another flying lap and pulled 2/10 on his own personal best time. He's just so consistent, so fast. We're witnessing some of the best IndyCar racing the series has seen in its whole existence. Alex Palou is just on another level, and pretty much anybody who's watching can see that.
Tomorrow, you'd be a fool to take the field against him. I'm not saying he's winning the race for sure. Things happen in IndyCar racing. But he was so much better than everybody else today that you'd be a fool not to take him against the field tomorrow.
Yeah, he was. And I saw a stat from Nathan Brown. Palou with Chip Ganassi Racing has never finished off the podium. He's had a third place, second place, first place, and a second, and has yet to finish off the podium at Mid-Ohio in a Chip Ganassi Racing car. And it's hard to say he's not going to be up there tomorrow.
Be interesting to see what he can do. And chasing him will be Christian Lundgaard, of course, Arrow McLaren's number 2. We'll talk about Arrow McLaren's number 1 here in a minute. But great day for Christian Lundgaard.
Yeah, really good results. Good to see him back in pace. He's kind of been a little bit of an afterthought here these last couple weekends after having a really good start to the season. But seeing him back up in second, it'll be interesting to see how he can push Palou here tomorrow.
And then row 2, Elijah, of course, you and I had our mid-season report where we graded every driver, every team, the broadcast, the series as a whole. We graded everything there was that I could think of to grade at the halfway point of the IndyCar season. And 2 of the toughest criticisms we had were with Kiffin Simpson and Nolan Siegel because they were number 3 on their teams by so far. Both of them seem like pretty good young talents who hadn't really proven it yet, and here they are, both starting on row 2. Maybe they hurt us.
Yeah, maybe so. They both had just great qualifying for both of them today. It's Nolan Siegel's highest starting position into a race, and I'll be super interested to see how they deal with being up front. Obviously, they've been up front a couple times during a race, but it's very different if they're going to be able to hold their own with Colton Herta, Kyle Kirkwood, and a lot of other people chasing behind them.
Yeah, a lot of them chasing behind him, that's for sure. Colton Herta, we need to talk about a little. Of course, he was just on pole at Detroit. Looked like the car to beat just a couple of weeks ago, and
Mhm.
but he could really use a win, and he's in pretty good position.
Yeah, starting from fifth, he ran well really all week, and it feels like Colton's been climbing up this ladder where he's itching towards a win the closer we get and the further the season runs along. So he should have a great position tomorrow to compete for a win, and I would be shocked if he's not on the podium tomorrow.
And we talked about RLL always being good at Mid Ohio, and we kind of expected it to be maybe Graham Rahal, but
Hmm.
Louis Foster, the second week in a row, great qualifying performance.
Yeah, super, super great. And he's got an extra set of new sticker red tires tomorrow as well. So, depending on how RLL plays the strategy right, he could really be contending for a top three finish tomorrow. And he's gapped. The next teammate closest to him is Ray Hall down in 20th, and that's pretty substantial. Um,
That's right.
he's really been in good form these last 2 weeks. Hopefully, he can just string together a consistent race.
And then Kyle Kirkwood missed the Fast Six. I think it was a poor strategy call, not that he wasn't one of the Fast Six. So I expect to see Kyle Kirkwood coming from row 4 tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he said on the broadcast, got caught up a little bit in one of the faster corners and just lost a few tenths. And in IndyCar, where the competition is so stiff, a few tenths is all you need to not even be near the window you need to be.
If you were going to say I'm going to take somebody other than Alex Palou tomorrow, Kyle Kirkwood starting from the 7th position might be your guy.
Yeah, Kirkwood, and I look to Herta as well. Just those Andretti Global, they usually have really consistent strategies. And being at Mid Ohio, they've obviously ran well in the past there. If they're gonna fight Pelot, they definitely need to have a perfect race because it's gonna be tough, uphill battle for sure.
Now let's move our way down to row 7, where a man named Connor Daly qualified ahead of David Malukas, Pato O'Ward, Felix Rosenqvist, Santino Ferrucci, and all three Penskes, and has looked really good all weekend.
He did, and he was really looking to transfer to the Fast 12 there, but just barely missed out of Group One. Just really good running for him and the Juncos Hollinger team. Stingray Robb is down in 19th, starting in 13th, can hopefully have some good points for Connor Daly and get some momentum on these road and street courses for him.
Yeah, Daly in 13th and Stingray Robb in 17th. That's a really good day for Hugo Hollinger. Hopefully those cars go forward tomorrow.
That's a team that's kind of been on the up and down depending on what circuit they're at. So a good
Yeah,
points result for them is big any day.
that's right. Row 8's a good one. We got, as I mentioned, Pato O'Ward in 3rd place in the standings. Felix Rosenqvist in 4th place in the standings. They're in row 8. Of course, Rosenqvist has had a frustrating weekend.
Yeah, the former teammates lining up right beside each other. That'll be a fun one to watch, and both have incredible pace around Mid Ohio. Just missed out on advancing and qualifying. Watching them start from the middle of the pack will be great to see, just because both of those are so incredibly skilled with their racecraft, and that'll definitely be interesting to see how they can play their strategy.
Those are 2 cars I would expect to see maybe making their way forward, particularly Pato. I always love when great race car drivers are mid pack or behind and seeing what they can do going through the field. And this is actually a road course where it's doable.
Yeah, it is. It'll be interesting to see how they play the strategy tomorrow. I know it's going to be another hot day out there, like it was for qualifying. I think they said the track temps were about 125 degrees, so that's a scorcher.
And then we get to row 9, and you've got Joseph Newgarden. Then row 11 is all Penske, Elijah. What in the world?
I mean, we've said it. I feel like for the past couple weeks now, it's just a horrible, horrible week for Penske. We said they're going to make the mend eventually, but it doesn't look like they are anytime soon, unless maybe till we get to the ovals. But
Maybe
on the
that's
road
it.
and
Yeah.
But for road and street courses, it's just been miserable. And, Joseph, after qualifying, I think they've tried to talk to him the past 3-4 weeks hasn't said a word on TV. And I'm a Joseph Newgarden fan, but being
Yeah.
arguably the best driver at Penske, it's time to face the criticism just because this season has been miserable beyond belief.
It's not, he should do more than face the criticism. He should go out there and talk about it. He
Yeah,
should go
and
out there
that
and say, we haven't been good enough. And you know what? Life will go on. We'll get better. Talk about it like that.
and it makes the series look a little bad because he is one of their three drivers, him, Pato, and Alex Palou, that they really advertised this
Right. The
season for
face
IndyCar.
of those three have
Yeah,
become the face of the series for sure.
and just not talking to media and stuff like that is just a brutal look.
Yeah.
Because fans
That,
know he's one of the best, but
yeah.
it's definitely will be interesting to see how they play their strategy. I don't know what their possible ceiling is for tomorrow, starting all the way down in 18th and in row 11 for Power and McLaughlin. It's just a really bad season.
It doesn't look good. I think the change in personnel midway through the season has hurt them even more than I think a lot of people expected. But again, Penske will bounce back. It's not like Penske hasn't
Yeah.
been through this before in other ways. This might be the worst complete season he's had.
I think it's their worst season statistically since the 2000 season, so 25 years. I guess
Yeah.
every 25 years have a stinker of a season is not too bad, but man, it really feels like it's under a magnifying glass this year.
And they need to start acting like other teams and say, hey, look, we just got to find answers. We'll find them.
Yeah, it's
And
part of the sport.
yeah, you can talk to the media however you want to, and he needs to at least be out there talking to him. You're right about that. Thanks, Elijah. I appreciate your time, and we, of course, will recap the race tomorrow and be talking to Elijah right after the race. Thanks for your time, Elijah. Always appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Always a blast.
Thanks so much to Elijah for sharing his time with the Central Indiana Sports Report listeners. And thank you for listening. Please share this podcast with your friends and family.
And your enemies.
And even strangers. You see somebody down the road, they have a Pacers shirt on, some in Colts, and you just say, hey, there's this really cool. They talk about the Pacers and the Colts, the Fever, IU, Purdue. Yeah, just even if you don't like somebody, and if you don't like the podcast, definitely share it with them. With your enemies. That's wisdom from producer Susan. Central Indiana Sports Report is a podcast. I love you, Susie.